It's game time, so get your strap and strapped. The magic sponge doused and the oranges cut, chilled and quartered as we take the field for WCBH Darwin Sports Radio. WCBH Darwin Sports Radio.
Joining me on the line is Jono from Geelong. Jono, it's been a few weeks. Welcome back.
Thank you, Cam. Great to be back. Good to hear your voice once again.
Last weekend was round 14. Let's run through those results. Western Bulldogs up against the Adelaide Crows, and the Crows had a big win there.
Yeah, the Crows were very impressive. You know that I am fond of the Crows, Cam. I did pick them at the start of the year to win the flag, and hopefully this is the turning point for them where they can string some solid games together. They beat the Cats the week before by a solitary point and then demolished the Doggies at Etihad, or Marvel, I should say, by 57 points. So, yeah, they're looking good, the Crows.
Now, let's have a look at your Cats up against my Suns. We are in the post-Darwin hangover period still for the Suns.
Yes.
It seems that history is repeating itself.
It certainly is. And poor Damien Hardwick, he's been a bit cranky in his post-match press conferences of late, questioning some umpiring decisions, which, to be fair, some of them were a little bit questionable, and even coming from a Cat supporter, Cam. He wasn't too impressed, and he did receive a phone call from Greg Swan for a please explain yesterday. So I think he's on notice, the coach of the Suns, Damien Hardwick. All things saying, Cam, was 45 points the margin in the end. The Cats were very impressive against your Suns.
Yeah, correct. 45 points. It's a bit too late to argue the toss of the coin when you're down by that much. On Saturday, we saw Melbourne. They had a great win, another 45-point margin, this time over the Essendon Bombers.
Yeah, and another tribute to Neil Danaher once again. Obviously, his state funeral took place earlier in the week. He coached Melbourne for a long time and also captained Essendon, played at Essendon. So it was great to see these two teams come together and pay tribute to the great man, Neil Danaher. As we probably expected, the D's were far too strong in the end, 45 points over the lowly Bombers, who, they're going from bad to worse this season once again, the Bombers.
Yeah, certainly. They can't seem to get a win anywhere. Now, the Kangaroos had a 1-point win over West Coast.
They did. They bounced back from their debacle the week before against Freo, where they stayed the week over in WA. The Eagles had their chances. Jake Waterman, his kicking has been off of late, which a lot of people think are just a mental issue for him. But he took a mark with 40 seconds remaining on the clock and hit the post. It would have put the Eagles 4 points up and probably won the game. But nonetheless, the Kangas got the job done on the road.
And the 15th place, Port Adelaide, they pushed the Swans all the way. Swans finally getting home by 3.
Yeah, they certainly did. And Port had every opportunity to win that game. The Swans probably just a little bit too classy in the end and handled the pressure in the end of the game better than what Port did. And 3-point winners, the Swans. Well done to Port. They've been involved in a lot of close games this year. I think we spoke a few weeks ago, Cam, about how close some of their margins have been, and they really could be up amongst the top 2 or 3 teams in the competition if they results had to go on their way. So they're doing a lot of things right, Port, but just not getting over the line in those close ones.
Yeah, the Lions defeated the Tigers, but you would have expected a larger margin for the Lions.
Yeah, and the Tigers were impressive. They probably took 2.5 quarters of the Lions to shake off the Tigers. And we've spoken earlier throughout the season about the extensive injury list that Richmond do have, and they've still got a massive amount of names not playing. So it was a fantastic performance by the Tigers down at Hobart at Blundstone Arena. But yeah, the Lions just a little bit too classy in the end once they shook off the Tigers.
And St Kilda, they snuck in the top 10 by 0.1% following their victory over GWS.
I just can't get a read of either of these teams, Cam. This game was there for the taking. Well, I was flicking between the Socceroos and this game on Sunday, mind you. And both sides had ample opportunities to win this game. And obviously the Saints got it done in the end, getting over the line by 8 points, where they let one the week before slip against the Swans, where they got things all wrong, drastically wrong towards the end of the game. But they did a better job this week in icing the game at the end. But yeah, I just don't know. I think they're probably mid-teams, both of these sides, but I just can't get a read of either of them.
And the teams that had the buys last week, Carlton Blues, Collingwood Magpies, Fremantle Dockers, and the Hawthorn Hawks. Before we get into round 15, let's have a look at the ladder as it's been a few weeks, and Freo and Sydney Swans both on top on 48 points.
Yeah, they're doing a fantastic job, both of those sides, and we'll talk shortly about it. But the Cats have got Freo tomorrow night over in WA, and that will be interesting.
Rounding out the top six, your Cats and Melbourne Demons now on 36 points. Gee, they've come up the ladder the last few weeks, haven't they? The Hawks are on 34, Crows are now 32, and in that zone 7 through to 10. So what are we calling that? The wild card zone.
Yeah.
Lions and Bulldogs 32. The Suns, they've been sliding. They're down to 28 and ninth position. And as I mentioned before, Saints on 24 points. They're in 10th place, but just sitting outside the 10. GWS and the Kangaroos are also sitting on 24 points.
And then I think we just need to make mention for all the other supporters out there, the four powerhouse sides out of Melbourne, Collingwood and Carlton, Richmond and Essendon, all four of them are in the bottom six. Isn't that just great to see?
Yeah, it's wonderful for the national game. There's no argument to be made about the number of teams in Melbourne, is there?
I don't think so. No,
Let's let's move on. I was just fishing there, just trolling, Jono. I thought you might bite.
no, thank you, Cam. Well played.
Thursday night, Freo and your Geelong Cats.
Yeah, this will be. There's two games that I'm really interested in this weekend. Obviously, this one, not that I'm a Geelong supporter, but we've got the first place versus third place on the ladder, and the Cats were very impressive against your Suns last week and look to be back playing the footy that they know they can play. And the Dockers have just been winning for fun this year and obviously sitting on top of the ladder for a reason. They're going to be very difficult to knock over in Perth tomorrow night. And I think I'm going to have to tip the Dockers at home, Cam.
Well, I'll be tipping the Dockers. I still can't believe that you managed to tip against your team. Friday night, Suns and Hawks.
Well, I'm going to tip against my team, and I'm also going to tip against your team because I don't know how well your team's actually travelling at the moment. There seems to be some reports between the coach and some player rifts as well, which is starting to rear its ugly head in the media. So the Hawks have had their week off. They should be nice and fresh. They're a good side. And again, I think your Giants, they're suffering that Darwin hangover, and I think the Hawks will get them.
No, I'll be tipping the Suns. Always back your team. Saturday, Crows versus the Demons.
This is the other game I'm really interested in. And the Crows demolished the Doggies last week, which we made mention of, and the D's have been the surprise packet of the season, and they're playing a brand of football that's actually good to watch. And I'm happy to sit down and park my butt on the couch and watch Melbourne play footy because they're playing a really impressive, fast style of football, and it's fun to watch. And this will be a cracking game. I'm just going to lean, even though the D's are ahead of the Crows on the ladder, but I'm just going to have to lean towards the Crows at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, I'm going to back the Demons in, and you're right, Cozzy and the D's, they've been a lot of fun to watch. Next game, GWS and Carlton.
I don't know what to say here, Cam. Both sides have had equally impressive performances this year, but equally lousy performances, to say the least. The Giants surely get the job done at home, but you just don't know with the way they've fronted up throughout the season. Again, they've been hit with injuries, particularly to key players, which has cost them at certain periods of the year, particularly against opposition that they probably should have beaten at that stage of the game. But I think I'll have to lean towards the Giants here to get over the top of the Blues, who have turned their season around under Josh Fraser. I think they've won 4 on the trot. And, poor old Michael Voss once again, Cam.
Well, that's exactly right. I'm just flipping through the results now. Since Michael Voss departed as coach, they've had a bit of a run there. So that's probably enough for me to lean towards the Blues. They are playing in Sydney, but I will back the Blues. And the Magpies go up against the Power.
This is another one I'm not sure about. The Powers' form, as we know, have played in a lot of close games this year. They can't quite get over the line, but their form's been good. And the Pies have been a little bit inconsistent. They've had some injuries to key players also throughout the season, which makes a difference, particularly when your list isn't as strong as a lot of people might think. And Collingwood obviously sitting in 13th place for a reason. I don't think they'll make the top 10 this year, which a lot of Collingwood supporters will be quite disappointed about. But I'm going to tip the Power to beat the Pies at the G on Saturday night.
Yeah, so am I. I think if you can push the Swans and just go down by 3 points. That's probably an indicator that if they can reproduce that form, they should get the win there. And the Richmond Tigers up against North Melbourne. This is a big game for North Melbourne on 24 points. St Kilda in the 10 on 24. If they get a win here over Richmond, they could be pushing for that 10th spot.
Yeah, and it's really open for them. There's an opportunity for them to take that 10th spot, but they just have to continue to win games. I think they won 6 this year. They won 4 last year. So they've improved again this season. The Tigers, they were good against Brisbane for 2.5 quarters, and just the young legs ran out towards the end against the seasoned Brisbane side. But I think Richmond, and obviously North being over in Perth, they got demolished by Freo. They just snuck over the line against West Coast. And the Tigers showed a bit against the Lions, and I'm going to tip an upset here, Cam, and go with the Tigers.
Okay, all right. You're on the Tigers. I'm on the Roos. And St Kilda up against the Bulldogs. That's what, Sunday?
Yeah,
Sunday at Marvel.
Toss of the coin here. If the Saints produce the football that they can play, and they've been impressive the last couple of weeks, they'll win. The Doggies have been a little bit inconsistent throughout the season. Obviously, getting belted by Adelaide last week was not ideal for them, but they beat Hawthorn the week before that. So can you get a read on this game? I'm not sure you can. I reckon you toss the coin and see how it lands. And it lands for me for the Saints.
Yeah, I'll go the Saints as well. Teams with the byes, the Lions, the Bombers, the Swans, and West Coast. Well, Jono, that's round 15. Couple of big games there. The Dockers up against the Cats and the Crows up against the Demons.
Yeah, they should be crackers, Cam. I'll be tuning into those two most definitely. And go
the Cats and go the Suns. And we'll speak next week and run through all the results.
Fantastic. Good talking once again, Cam.
It's game time, so get your strapped. The magic sponge doused and the oranges cut, chilled and quartered as we take the field for WCBH Darwin Sports Radio. WCBH Darwin Sports Radio.